Grievances. The member for North West Central.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. Today my grievance is to the Minister for Environment, and I thank the Minister for taking my grievance. I grieve about a vital environmental and tourism asset in my electorate, the Hamelin Pool Stromatolites. Hamelin Pool Marine Nature Reserve is home to the most diverse and abundant examples of stromatolites in the world. Also referred to as living fossils, stromatolites are living representatives of life over 3,500 million years ago, when there was no other complex life on Earth. A 200-metre boardwalk at Hamelin Pool provides excellent views for these stromatolites. Nearby is the old Hamelin Pool telegraph station, which was built in 1884 as part of the communication line between Perth and Roban. The stromatolites at Hamelin are considered the best place in the world to access and view stromatolites. Hamelin Pool is a world-class tourism asset, but currently the site is in a state of stagnation and disrepair. Since the cyclone Seroja in April 21, the community has been waiting for this asset to be built back better, as was the promise and the mantra. It's absolutely vital that this world-class tourist asset and ecological wonder is protected, but can be shown to visitors who come from far and wide to see these magnificent and ancient forms of life. Concerningly, I drove to Hamelin Pool over the recess and was shocked to see that the site was a mirror of the site I saw over 18 months ago. How is this possible 28 months after the Seroja weather event? Due to the fact the boardwalk is closed, I'm hearing of instances of people climbing over the barriers to see the stromatolites, and even onto the stromatolites, which then is not accessible due to the boardwalk. The stromatolites are extremely sensitive, and through access to them being cut off, it would be argued that in their current state, the aspects of the presentation and protection requirements under the World Heritage Convention are not being met and therefore not complying with obligations under the Convention. They offer 2 of the 4 natural criteria required for World Heritage status. What concerns me is that with such a long period of inaction, the stromatolites are at risk. Can the Minister outline what are the elements that DBCA need to manage to maintain the World Heritage status? Has the Department and DBCA sought to have advice from the UN ESCO around the impact of the damage and the closure of the sites and the World Heritage status? What has DBCA as site manager been doing since April 2021 to get this site open and make it an even better place to visit and to stay? I do recognise that there have been discussions around repairing what was damaged by the storms, and would like to also know if DBCA have insurance to cover this damage. If so, was it sufficient to cover the full replacement costs? Another question I have is, has the Minister spoken with the Treasurer and Premier to seek additional funding to cover any shortfall or deliver a broader site upgrade than just the jetty? Is DBCA developing a submission for consideration on the project as part of the mid-year economic financial outlook process? I know the site would benefit from new signage and toilets to ensure the infrastructure amenities meet the quality of the tourism offering that exists in the region. I know this protracted period of inaction and closure is impacting negatively on the local caravan park nearby, who has seen tourist numbers drop as they can't be accessed. Visitors either staying less time or bypassing Hamelin Pool altogether. The stromatolites are vitally important as a tourism link to the area and other attractions. They are the gateway or the starting point to the World Heritage Area. They are the first attraction along the site-to-site experience that is the World Heritage Drive, a continuous journey that the World Heritage values. A continuous journey that is missing a foundation pillar, with visitors voicing their displeasure at travelling for hours only to find Hamelin Pool Stromatolites Boardwalk, which is advertised widely, is closed and not accessible. It's estimated that prior to Tropical Cyclone Seroja, 130,000 people annually visited the Stromatolites, and this year around 40,000 visitors have been through the Shark Bay World Heritage Visitor Centre. So the drop in data, raw data and anecdotal information is interesting. The impact of this closure on other tourism icons like Shark Bay and Monkey Mia has and continues to be immense. This continued inaction by the government has also put pressure on the local shire and visitor centres, as visitors and the public are rightly asking questions and seeking answers to where things are up to and what is going on. Anecdotal feedback is that 1 in 2 visitors in the local visitor centre are raising concerns about the condition of Hamelin Pool. from being mildly inconvenienced, making a complaint or even scathing in their disappointment. That's big numbers and shows the interest in this world-class asset and the urgent need for action by the Minister to get this project moving and delivered in a way that leverages this remarkable asset for decades to come. Given that the responsibility sits with the Minister and the need for action is now, the ball is seemingly sitting wholly in the court of the Minister and DBCA, and to date the community seems to have been served double faults, and the project really does need to be served up with an ace urgently. Thank you.
Thank you, Member. The Minister for Environment.
Thank you, Speaker. The tennis references there came out of the blue. But look, thank you, Member for North West Central. I really appreciate you raising this issue, and you've raised a number of matters, and with my response I'll be addressing those issues. I think it's not correct to say there's been no action. There's been a lot of action, and I'll explain what's happened to this date. So you're right, Shark Bay is WA's first listed World Heritage Area due to its natural beauty, unique stromatolite communities, cultural significance and outstanding marine biodiversity, which we're both aware of. And no one understands the importance of protecting and celebrating this region more than the Labor Party, because it was the Hawke Labor government in partnership with the Lawrence Labor government back in '91 that successfully inscribed Shark Bay onto the World Heritage List. Now, Speaker, there is no doubt that Hamelin Pool is a key component of Shark Bay's listing as a World Heritage Area. The pool is home to the most diverse and abundant examples of stromatolites in the world, as you point out, commonly referred to as living fossils. So it's not fair to say that living fossils only exist in the National Party. They are existing in the natural environment as well. As you said, 3.5 billion years old. The microbial mats and stromatolites of Hamelin Pool are among the most diverse in the world and show what marine ecosystems would have previously looked like. The pool, as you rightly say, is a major tourism drawcard. More than 132,000 visits were recorded there in 2021, which represented the second most visited tourist site in the Shark Bay World Heritage Area. Now, getting to the boardwalk at Hamelin Pool, it had previously acted to protect the fragile stromatolites from pedestrian damage. The timber boardwalk was built in 1996 to allow visitors to experience the stromatolites while having minimal impact on the surrounding and fragile environment. Unfortunately, as we both know, in April 2021, Cyclone Seroja severely damaged the boardwalk. The Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions had no choice but to close the boardwalk due to the risk to visitor safety. Now, since that time, the department has engaged a marine engineering firm to undertake a structural assessment of the damaged boardwalk and to evaluate options to repair the existing structure or replace it using alternative materials and design to mitigate the risk of future damage from storm events. Now, this work found that the boardwalk is already reaching the end of its life and will need to be fully replaced. The government is now considering the most appropriate options to address this matter, and it is an important issue and we're not going to rush it. He mentioned insurance. Well, insurance would have covered the repair but not the full replacement value, so that is a matter we're looking at also. So, Speaker, I think it's also important to be mindful that the department is responsible for managing 31 million hectares of national parks and conservation reserves, which receive an average of 22 million visits per year. Whilst that is testament to the quality of our parks, it does place a significant cost on the state to ensure that these sites, which many are in very remote parts of Western Australia, are adequately maintained. So striking the right balance in how we best prioritise our investments in our natural assets is a very challenging task. I can assure you, Member, that the government remains committed to the future of Shark Bay, its environment and the tourism it attracts. So despite the boardwalk closure, Hamelin Pool remains a fascinating destination for visitors. The visitor interpretation is provided about the stromatolites and the World Heritage significance of Shark Bay, and there is a 1.4 kilometre walk trail that includes historic features such as grave sites, a shell block quarry and the old telegraph station that you referred to. This government is very proud of our investments in our environment, including in your seat. In this term of government, we are investing $12.1 million into the region as part of the WA Recovery Plan, Plan for our Parks and World and National Heritage Grant initiatives. Projects include Monkey Mire walk trails, interpretation and landscaping, park infrastructure, upgrades at Kennedy Range National Park and Pimby National Park, along with upgrades to the Milluring Discovery Centre in Cape Range National Park. And of course, who could forget in 2020 when the McGowan government delivered the Kalbarri Skywalk? The $24 million project saw the installation of 2 giant cantilevered platforms overlooking the Murchison Gorge, a kiosk, shade shelters, toilets, parking, 22 kilometres of roads, upgrades, a very impressive and significant investment in your seat for tourism. So we're not running away from this issue. We're seriously looking at the options in terms of the boardwalk, and we're committed to, in the meantime, making sure that the damage is monitored and stopped as much as possible by DBCA, and I'll be making sure that those efforts are increased in the meantime, but we continue on course with the replacement program. Thank you.
Thank you.